Welcome back to Extra Dirt, the podcast designed to help you and your life group put down deeper roots relationally and spiritually. As we looked at this week's message, really this very big challenge of what are we in this for? What are we following God for? Are we content to put ourselves before Him and say, God, I will serve you in whichever way you call? Whether that's big or small, I just want to be a part of your celebration. I want to be a part of your kingdom. And so use me, God. Unfortunately, very often we approach everything in life, not just our business, not just our family, but our church as well as this idea of, I've got to do this awesome, and if I'm not being recognized for it, I'm getting ripped off. We live very much in a culture that values affirmation. Maybe it's the whole self-esteem movement. Who knows what it is? But the bottom line is that we like to be recognized. And this is something that has gone back even to Jesus' day. And it results in this mindset of pride, this elevation of self above where God has called us to, that is destructive in the church and that fundamentally misses the whole message of the kingdom. And that's why Jesus talks about this inversion, really, where he says, what is great in the kingdom is to serve. Because if you serve and you serve faithfully in obedience to God, then He is the one who will look at you and say, no, come up here to the place of honor. And so there's this very clear command to quit looking out for the way people think about you and instead obey Christ, live in a way that would honor Him, worry about what He thinks, and forget about what other people think. I hope it's challenging and convicting to you. You can think of it in terms of the things you're willing to do in service to church. Is it beneath you to clean up after our fall festival? If so, that's an attitude that just screams, I don't understand what the kingdom is really about. So we hope you're challenged by this. We hope that you don't get too distracted. I talk about rewards a little bit here. I point you at Hebrews and at 1 Corinthians. And the mentality is that God doesn't get in this position where He owes us favors, where if we do good, He owes it to give us good stuff in return. In fact, in Luke, Jesus even says, if Christ comes back, you should just say, hey, you know what? My obedience was what was expected of me. I didn't do anything above and beyond the call of duty. I just did what you asked me to do. I don't deserve any reward. Nevertheless, even though we don't deserve that God would pour out His blessing upon us, He does reveal Himself as the kind of God who blesses those who are obedient, who blesses those who respond in love, who pours out His blessings on those who earnestly seek Him. And so, no, you cannot earn, you cannot deserve God's favor, I guess, in so many words. And certainly you cannot earn or deserve His love that is poured out on us unconditionally. But when it comes to making God happy, to pleasing Him, He's the kind of God that says, if you will obey me, if you will come after me, I delight in pouring out my blessing upon you. So that's what I got for you this week. I would encourage you as you consider the dynamics of your group to try something these next couple weeks. And I would encourage you to do this. For the next, let's say, 3 or 4 weeks, make a plan with your life group. When you get together, you're going to share a couple things. First of all, I'd encourage you to share one place in which you have obeyed Christ. And what we're looking for is just a really specific example. Like, you know what? I was at Walmart and somebody came and cut me off in the aisle and I was just so mad at him. And then I knew, okay, God calls me to show love and to be patient, and so I will do that out of obedience to Christ. That's the kind of thing we're looking at. Well, or it might be something like, hey, you know what? I got home from work and I was exhausted and I saw my next door neighbor outside and he looked kind of bummed, and I knew that I was just supposed to go and talk to him. I don't know why. Holy Spirit inside me. And I said, okay, God, I don't want to, but I'll obey you. So we're looking for those kind of things to encourage you to keep this mentality that the Holy Spirit inside us does call us into obedience to Christ. When you ask that question, you get people thinking in those terms of specific steps of obedience. Then I think it's a really encouraging thing for your group as a whole, and it's a very positive reminder that we are here to obey Christ. And so if you'll do that with your group, I think you'll see sort of a cool dynamic. You'll also find some encouragement in your own walk, not to just ignore the voice of the Holy Spirit when He prompts you and pushes you, but to actually listen and respond. There's actually a couple other questions that I'll give you, but I'm not going to give them to you this week. They'll come in the weeks to come. So that's your assignment as a group. Make a goal for the next 3 or 4 weeks at least, each week to come back, each one of you, with just one specific instance where you felt the Holy Spirit prompt you towards obedience and you did it. You just said, you know what? I'm going to obey. We're not talking about, were you a good person? We're talking, when did you obey? I hope that's a great blessing to you, and I hope to see you again back here next week. Take care, and God bless.